Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I am Hirani Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories. President in talks with US trade representative to ease tariff burden. Sri Lanka opens doors to tourists from 40 more countries without visas. Government invites Sri Lankan entrepreneurs abroad to invest back home.
අවුරුදු ගණනාවක් ඒ රටවල් වල මිලියන ගණන් බිලියන ගණන් මුදල් හම්බ කරලා ඒ රටවල් වල ව්‍යාපාර කරමින් ඉන්නෝ දැන් ඔබට අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා තමන්ගේ මව් රට තමන් ඉපදිච්ච හැදිච්ච වැඩිච්ච හදවතින්ම බැඳිච්ච අපේ මව්බිමට ඔබේ දායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්න.
Preliminary steps completed to draft new constitution. Prime Minister tells Parliament. Colombo High Court sets date to hear Rajitha's petition against arrest. Villagers tie up deer poachers, hand over 3 including 2 police officers to the Galkiriagama police.
On to those stories in detail. A discussion took place this evening between President Anurukumara Dissanayake and the head of the US Trade Representative to explore ways to further reduce the reciprocal tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijitha Herat said that the government is continuing its talks with the US on lowering these tariffs.
We have a new tax imposed by the United States of America. We are doing our best to resolve this issue as well. The President will hold a Zoom discussion with the chief of the USTR in the US at 5:45 p.m. today. Through this discussion, we hope to further reduce the tax rate. We will continue these talks going forward. Earlier, the tax was 44%, but it has now been brought down to 30%. However, this is still a heavy burden for us, and we are continuously working to bring it down further.
The minister shared these views while taking part in a global conference of Sri Lankan business people living overseas held in Colombo today. The event took place under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayake.
If we want to start a business in order to raise capital, in some countries you can get a bank loan at an interest rate of 1%, 1.5% or 2.5% per year. But we still don't have such facilities in Sri Lanka today. Our youth have a strong desire to own a good vehicle. For example, someone who drives an Aqua in Sri Lanka can afford to drive a BMW or Benz when they go abroad. If they already drive a BMW or Benz here, they could drive a Land Cruiser there. And someone who drives a Land Cruiser here might be able to buy a Lamborghini or Ferrari in that country. This doesn't mean that their love for Sri Lanka has faded, but these are not issues that can be solved overnight. These problems won't be fixed in a month, 6 months or even a year. However, if we follow the right path and stay consistent in our efforts, I believe that in 5, 10 or 15 years, we will be able to reach a better place. Through our board of investment, we have been able to attract a significant amount of new investments to the country this year. In the past 6 months alone, we have approved investments worth around $500 million. We are also launching 3 new investment zones in the northern province in areas such as Kankasanthurei and Parandan. We warmly invite you to invest in these locations. We have identified land across Sri Lanka owned by the Tourism Development Board and have already opened up about 3,000 acres for development. You can now submit your projects and direct your investments to these lands. Please share this message with other Sri Lankans living around the world. Spread this invitation widely. For many years, Sri Lankans abroad have earned millions and even billions through businesses in other countries. Now, you have a chance to contribute to your motherland, the place where you were born, raised and hold close to your heart.
Addressing the opening of the Hotel Show 2025 exhibition held today at the Bandaranaike Memorial International Conference Hall in Colombo under the patronage of President Anurukumara Dissanayake, the Minister of Foreign Affairs said that the government has taken steps to grant visa-free entry to citizens for 40 countries.
Tourists from all over the world have started coming to our country again. With that in mind, we've made a number of key policy decisions recently. At the most recent cabinet meeting, we decided to extend visa-free entry to 40 more countries. That means Sri Lanka now welcomes visitors from a total of 47 countries without charging any visa fees.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake will undertake a state visit to Maldives next Monday at the invitation of the President of Maldives, Mohamed Muizzu. He will remain in Maldives till the 30th of July. During the visit, President Dissanayaka is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with President Muizu and exchange several memoranda of understanding to deepen our mutual cooperation. The state visit to Maldives by President Dissanayaka is also significant as Sri Lanka and Maldives commemorate the 60th anniversary of the establishment of formal diplomatic relations this year. President Dissanayaka will be accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijitha Herath and senior government officials. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in the Maldives to attend the country's 60th Independence Day celebrations tomorrow, where he will serve as the chief guest.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya stated that preliminary steps are currently underway to begin drafting a new constitution. She made this remark in response to a question posed by Member of Parliament Ajith P. Pereira.
වර්තමාන රජය විසින් ඉදිරියේදී කැටුම්පත් කිරීමට අපේක්ෂිත නව ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව
The new constitution that the current government intends to draft will be a people's constitution, one unlike any previously created in this country. It will be shaped by listening to and respecting the views of all sectors of society. The groundwork for this effort has already commenced, and the ongoing amendments to existing ordinances are also part of this broader process. Importantly, we have emphasized that this esteemed parliament has a crucial role to play in gathering the perspectives of both the public and experts. This process is already in motion, and there should be no doubt about our commitment to it. We have 4 more years ahead, and there is nothing to be concerned about. As you are aware, you know what the country was like when we took over. In our first year, we prioritized addressing the urgent needs of the people. Now, we are continuing our work during our term in office.
අපේ දූර කාලය තුල මේක සිද්ධ කරනවා.
Case file.
The Colombo High Court today decided to take up a writ petition filed by former Minister Rajit Senaratne seeking an order to prevent his possible arrest by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Accordingly, the court issued notice to the Director General of the Bribery Commission instructing him to appear before the court and present submissions on 7th of August.
The petition filed by former Minister Rajitha Senaratne seeking an order to prevent his possible arrest by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption was taken up today before Colombo High Court Judge Indrika Kalingavangsha. President's counsel Maitri Gunaratne, who appeared on behalf of Rajitha Senaratne at the time the petition was taken up, told the court that before his client was taken into custody by the Bribery Commission, a petition had been filed before the Colombo Magistrates Court requesting to release him on anticipatory bail. He stated that the magistrate had rejected the petition after considering the facts. The President's counsel further pointed out to the court that the magistrate had not clarified the reasons for rejecting the bail application. He stated that the magistrate's order is completely contrary to the provisions of the Bail Act and accordingly requested the court to issue an order releasing his client on bail by revising the said order. President's counsel Maitri Gunaratne also requested the court to issue a notice to the respondents in relation to the petition and issue an interim order preventing an arrest until a hearing is held. The former minister has filed this petition seeking to invalidate the Colombo Magistrate Court's order rejecting his anticipatory bail application filed to secure his release before being taken into custody by the Bribery Commission and to obtain an order releasing him on bail.
No, he is participating. That is why 2 days ago he submitted his written statement in the form of an affidavit to the Bribery and Corruption Investigation Commission. Besides that, if there are any further questions, he will definitely provide the necessary answers. But here, the issue is a legal matter. That is, he submitted a medical report about his health condition on the 2nd day. After submitting that medical report 5 days later, he verbally told our lawyers to come on the 15th at 9 AM. This is also recorded in the Magistrates Court judgment of that case. Then, while this agreement was in place on the 7th day, a legal medical certificate was submitted from the Colombo National Hospital. After that, the next day, after submitting that medical certificate and after about 24 hours, he came to the Magistrates Court and requested a warrant to take him into custody by the Bribery Commission. This is is where the complication lies. That is why after a few days we filed the anticipatory bail application and registered this case. If instead they had arranged the usual verbal agreement to come on the 15th day as planned, the statement would have been given by now and this matter would have been finished. That is the problem here.
ඒකයි මෙතන තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඔව් අල්ලස් කොමිසමට ඉතින් බලතල තියෙනවා. බලතල තියෙනවා. මේකත් එක්ක
Yes, it has the authority. There is no issue in cooperating if it's done fairly and according to the law. However, when illegal political harassment occurs, we will not bow our heads.
හිස නමන්නෙත් නැහැ, දන නමන්නෙත් නැහැ. බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Case file.
Meanwhile, the permanent trial at bar of the Colombo High Court today set the 29th of September as the date to deliver the verdict in the case against 4 defendants, including Ali Roshan, who faces multiple charges including illegal possession of elephants without a valid license. Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Farmers Union, Anuradha Thennakoon, visited the Criminal Investigation Department today. The visit was to provide information related to a complaint filed concerning alleged corruption and irregularities that took place during the previous government.
The chairman of the National Farmers Union, Anuradha Thennakoon, recently submitted a complaint to the Criminal Investigation Department alleging the misuse of over 500 million rupees allocated for the greenhouse project under the Smart Irrigated Agriculture project during the previous government's term.
We are stating that under the Smart Irrigated Agriculture project, nearly 380 million rupees from the General Treasury was smartly embezzled for the construction of greenhouses. Therefore, we have prepared 17 detailed files in a smart manner and requested the Criminal Investigation Department to conduct a formal investigation and take action against those responsible for this financial fraud and harm to the agricultural economy.
The Centre for Environmental Justice points out that the Supreme Court has laid down provisions ensuring that the compensation payments, including the initial compensation amount ordered to be paid by the owners of the Express Pearl, cannot be evaded. The court has ordered the responsible parties to pay an initial compensation amount of $1 billion. This is approximately 300 billion Sri Lankan rupees, a sum greater than the amount allocated this year for the Social Security Board, including allocations for this year's Asvasama Social Welfare Scheme. For 2025, the government has allocated 232.5 billion rupees for the Social Security Board.
In May 2021, the Express Pearl sank off the coast of Sri Lanka, causing one of the worst marine disasters in recent history, a disaster that became part of Sri Lanka's legacy. This ship, which had been leaking nitric acid, was denied entry by ports in countries such as India and Qatar. Yet, permission was granted for it to enter the Sri Lankan waters, and it was brought near the Colombo port. As the media, along with environmentalists, religious leaders and civil organizations, Newsfirst continuously questioned this decision. However, this catastrophic event occurred in Sri Lanka's ocean, releasing tons of toxic chemicals and plastic waste that destroyed a massive amount of marine life. When the media questioned it at the time, the responsible parties responded in the following manner.
During certain seasons, such accidents are likely. For example, I've seen environmentalists posting on social media, and some have told me directly that marine life is generally vulnerable during these periods.
The approach taken to prevent this disaster, as well as the way environmental damage was assessed, followed a weak and flawed process. Later, the process to claim compensation also became a tangled mess. Throughout, Newsfirst continued to raise questions alongside civil organizations, environmentalists and the general public. Yesterday's Supreme Court ruling revealed that even the decision made by the Attorney General's Department to file the case in Singapore was done arbitrarily. The claim that there were corrupt dealings in this process was revealed by the then Minister of Justice.
On the 6th April, I received a WhatsApp message stating that $250 million had been deposited into an account at NatWest Bank under a certain name. The person named was said to be a relative of an officer handling the legal case at the Attorney General's Department. I handed this over to the CID.
The Supreme Court delivered this historic ruling in light of such a massive disaster. What makes this court ruling special? This ruling is significant because it reveals whether the political authorities and government officials who were responsible at the time of the Express Pearl incident actually fulfilled their duty to protect the people and the environment of Sri Lanka. The ruling clearly states that Dr. Nalaka Godaheva, the then subject minister, Darshani Lahandapura, the former chairperson of the Marine Environment Protection Authority and the Attorney General's Department failed in their duties and violated fundamental human rights. So, is the $1 billion compensation the only amount Sri Lanka will receive related to this disaster? No, the $1 billion ordered by the Supreme Court is only the initial payment.
The term used was initial payment. A special commission has been appointed to calculate the remaining compensation, and that commission will be appointed by the Supreme Court itself. Only after this assessment will the method of further compensation payments be decided.
Can this compensation payment be avoided?
As part of
the steps taken by the Supreme Court, a group referred to as the Express Pearl Group has been defined by the court. According to that definition, this group includes not only the ship's owner and operator, who are more accurately described as the ones responsible for managing the ship's operations, but also the local shipping agent in Sri Lanka, their board of directors, the ship's captain and all associated companies and individuals. The court ruled that all these parties within the Express Pearl Group are jointly and severally liable. Additionally, the local agent based in Sri Lanka was represented in court through a legal counsel, and some of the directors were physically present in court at the time the judgment was delivered. Therefore, it is clearly stated that they bear personal and institutional responsibility for implementing this court ruling. The Supreme Court order clearly states that this is a case of group liability, meaning that if there are say 4 or 5 parties involved, they can collectively contribute portions to make up the $1 billion compensation and pay it. This means they are jointly liable. Further, under several liability, if one party fails to pay, for example, if there are 3 responsible parties and 2 of them do not pay, the remaining party is still required to pay the full $1 billion. At the very least, any one of them can be accountable to pay the entire amount. This is the meaning of being jointly and severally liable.
Can this Supreme Court ruling be challenged locally or internationally?
The ruling was delivered by a 5-judge bench. When such a bench is established, it is considered equivalent to a full bench of the Supreme Court. Historically, rulings delivered by such benches have not been subject to appeal. Under international law as well, there is no procedural mechanism to appeal such a ruling.
Sri Lanka as a nation is currently emerging from a severe economic crisis. The total financial assistance we are due to receive from the International Monetary Fund in installments is less than $3 billion. However, even the conservative estimate of the damages from the Express Pearl disaster, now recommended as compensation, exceeds $6 billion. That means if the officials and institutions found to have violated human rights in this case had properly fulfilled their duties, the country may not have suffered such a devastating economic collapse. This devastating marine environmental disaster, which was almost buried in the sands of time, was brought to light through the courageous and historic ruling delivered yesterday by Chief Justice Murthu Fernando and Justices Yasantha Kodagoda, Shiran Gunaratna, Achala Vengapuli and Priyantha Fernando. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya stated in Parliament today that further action will be taken after a thorough study of the court ruling on the Express Pearl vessel.
Yesterday, the Supreme Court stated that for the first time, the Attorney General of this country had taken all necessary steps to file a case in Sri Lanka regarding the Express Pearl ship. This was at a time when there were expert reports covering all legal jurisdictions, when a parliamentary committee had made recommendations and when all the conditions to proceed were in place. Despite that, an agreement was made to transfer jurisdiction to Singapore. The actions of the Attorney General's Department in this regard have been recommended to be investigated by the Bribery and Corruption Investigation Commission. This is a very serious matter. Now, in this situation, what detailed action will the government take?
We will not hesitate to implement the orders of the court. Absolutely not. We will act accordingly. Since I am reading this just now, it is difficult for me to provide a more detailed response at this moment.
ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මට ඒ පිළිබඳ මීට වඩා පිළිතුරක් මේ මොහොතේ දෙන්න අමාරුයි.
අද දිනේදී තාම විශේෂ
Today, Sri Lanka received a truly historic verdict, particularly in relation to the Express Pearl tragedy. The Supreme Court delivered an outstanding judgment on the matter, calling for $1 billion in compensation along with a clear process to obtain it. We are deeply grateful to the Supreme Court, including the retiring Chief Justice and her exceptional team, for thinking of the country and stepping forward to uphold such vital rights within the legal framework.
Due to an accident involving the cargo ship MSC Elsa 3, which was sailing under the Liberian flag, plastic pallets and other debris from the vessel have washed into the Sea of Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the removal of plastic pallets and other waste that had drifted ashore on Delph Island in Jaffna was carried out today. The cleanup operation was conducted by the Marine Environment Protection Authority.
Newsfirst, with the people.
Police have launched an investigation into an incident involving 2 officers from police stations located in the Anuradhapuram Mathale district border who are suspected of shooting and killing a spotted deer. Now, this afternoon, unrest erupted in the area when local residents apprehended the 2 officers along with another individual and handed them over to the police.
Residents became agitated after alleging that 2 officers from Madadugama and Giranegama police stations had shot and killed a spotted deer in Hinuggala, Galkiriyagama. Villagers gathered at the site where the deer was reportedly shot, detaining the 2 police officers along with another individual. They then informed both the police and wildlife officers.
අපි වනජීවියෙක්. මේ සතාට වෙඩි තියලා තියෙන්නේ මගේ දැනුම අනුව T56 එකකින්. හරිද? ඒක නිසා මුතුමාගෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ මට මේ සතයි අර ඇකියුස්ලා ටිකයි බාර දෙන්න. වනජීවි පනත අනුව මට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න මේ රක්ෂිතයක්, හැබැයි තියෙන රක්ෂිතයක්. මේ දැන් මේ කරුණා කරලා මේ සතා වනජීවි පශු වෛද්‍යවරයාට යොමු කරන්න ඕනේ. සුටගෙන මත මේ සතා වනජීවි පශු වෛද්‍යවරයාට යොමු කරන්න. ඔව් යොමු කරන්න. එතුමා තමයි මරණ පරීක්ෂණය තියන්නේ. ඔබතුමාලා ගෙනිච්චා ඉන්නකෝ. ඔබතුමාලා ගෙනිච්චා මරණ පරීක්ෂණය තියන්නේ වනජීවි පශු වෛද්‍යවරයා. ඔව්. හරිද? ඊළඟට ඇකියුස්ලා ටික ඒක මෙව කරලා තරණකල බාර දෙන්න අපි අතර ගැටුමක් ඇති කරගන්න එපා. මේක රාජකාරී. ඒක තමයි. ඉස්සල්ලාම රාජකාරීට පැමිණියාදනේ. හරි ඒක හරි. ඒක අපේ පරීක්ෂණ කරලා ඉවර වෙලා. එහෙනම් දෙකල්ලම එකතු වෙලා ඒක කරගෙන යන්න. අපිටත් ගැටලුවක් නෑ. අපිටත් පාරේ බහලා යන්න බෑ. මොකද අපේ පණත අපි කකුල් දෙක අස්සේ ගහගන්න වෙලා තියෙන පොලිසිය කරන වැරදිත් එක්ක. මොකද මට නෑ නෑ. එහෙම ආවේග සිල්ව කරන්න. ආවේග සිල්ල නෙමෙයි මම වනජීවියෙක්. අපිටත් එපා නේද? මේ අපිටත් යන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම එපා. වෙන ගහරි වැඩ කරන්න එපා. ඇවිල්ලා බලනවා වෙඩි තිබ්බා කැබ් එකකින් ඇවිල්ලා දොර ඇරලා සද්ද එනවනේ ඒත් එකම ටක් ගාලා උඩහට ගියා කැබ් එක. ඔව් හරි. ඒකලා 4:00ට අහපම මේ බයික් එක නිර්භාර බයික් එකේ 3 දෙනෙක් ආවා. ඇවිල්ලා එක්කෙනෙක් බස්සලා දෙන්නේ පල්ලෙහාට ගියා. අපි කොහමද කැලේට ගියා අල්ලගත්තා අර මිනිස්සයාව. එක්කෙනෙක් අල්ලගත්තා. හරි. ඊට පස්සේ ඒත් එක්ක විනාඩි 10 දවස් මේ බයික් එක ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා අපි පොලිසියෙන් වැඩේ මෙහෙම සේව් කරන්න මෙහෙමයි කියලා. ඔයාගේ අයිඩෙන්ටිටි දෙන්න කියලා මම අයිඩෙන්ටිටි ගත්තා. ඒතකොට අයිඩෙන්ටිටි අරන් බලනවා පොලිසිය දෙන්නම්. අපිට සැකයක් එනවා ආයුධ අරන් යනකොට අලි වෙඩි තියන්න. හරි එක්ක මිනිස්සු වෙඩි තියන්න.
The 2 police officers under suspicion, along with the other individual, the motorcycle and the carcass of the deer were taken to the Makulugaswewa police station. When inquired about the incident, police stated that the firearm used in the shooting has not yet been recovered. They further confirmed that the two officers and the other individual accused are currently being interrogated.
Today marks 4 years since the passing of the late R. Rajamahendran, former chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, a visionary leader who rendered an extraordinary and selfless service to the nation across multiple sectors. He is fondly remembered for his contributions to the country and the people. A series of religious observances were held today in remembrance of his legacy.
In remembrance of the late R. Rajamahendran, an almsgiving was held today at the Sirasa TV head office in Braybrook Place, Colombo. Mahasangha from the Hunupitiya Gangarama temple attended the almsgiving. Last evening, a Dhamma sermon was conducted at the Department Broadcasting Centre in memory of the late former chairman.
Laba ඇති භවයන් සුගතිගාමි කරගනිත්වා ප්‍රාර්ථනීය බෝධියකින් නිවී සැනසෙත්වා කියලා පින් ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමු.
An almsgiving was also organised at the Department Broadcasting Centre this morning. A group of children from the Department Dharmapala Primary School were invited to the Broadcasting Centre and were given gifts. Additionally, dry rations were distributed today in Vallampitiya for children with special needs. The dry ration donation to the Salina Alvis Gunaratna Elders Home, managed by the Piliyandala Young Buddhist Association, was made possible with the contributions from A.F. Jones, a subsidiary of the Capital Maharaja Group. Another event was also held at the Handala Preetipura Children's Home. Religious observances were also carried out at the G Temple in Chiba, Japan, led by Sanganayaka of Japan and chief incumbent of the G Temple, Venerable Banagala Upatissa Thero. Digiterra 25, a groundbreaking initiative by the Department of Accountancy of the University of Kelaniya, was held in Colombo yesterday.
The grand unveiling of the Accounting Analytics Unit of the Department of Accountancy, University of Kelaniya was held in Colombo yesterday. In line with the event, the launch of the Digiterra magazine also took place. The Accounting Analytics Unit of the Department of Accountancy, University of Kelaniya aims to uplift the analytics education in Sri Lanka. The Bachelor of Business Management Honours in Accounting Information Systems degree will be operated under the newly established Accounting Analytics Unit. The event helped engage with a dynamic panel of industry leaders, expertly moderated and covering key topics under the theme Empowering Knowledge for the Digital Era.
The import section of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce held its 90th annual general meeting in Colombo yesterday.
The 90th annual general meeting of the import section of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce was held in Colombo yesterday. During the AGM, Ushan De Silva was elected chairman, while Sankha Gammampila was appointed vice chairman and C. Rajasurya named deputy vice chairman. The milestone event was graced by Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Secretary to the Treasury, Ministry of Finance, as chief guest.
As a country, the stability, whether it is within the IMF program or otherwise with the contribution of many other stakeholders, both locally and overseas, investors, local and overseas, lenders, local and overseas, whether it's bilateral or multilateral, everyone have contributed to the stability that we see today. And the next chapter in this journey is to convert that energy and the strength that we all dedicated ourselves to support the growth trajectory the country is going to go through. It's going to be intense, but it will be rewarding as a country. This is where action in unison as one team is very important. We invite investors from other countries to come to Sri Lanka, bring their technology to Sri Lanka, bring their expertise into Sri Lanka, allow local businesses to benefit from that. So the same way that we coordinate and work with you, we collaborate with counterparts in other jurisdictions as well to bring their expertise, bring FDI into the country. It is not the easiest thing in today's context. In one side, managing the fiscal challenges that we have, on another angle, to create the stability that we desire, but at the same time, while doing this one, creating the space for businesses to grow, we can see a very conducive environment has been created as of now. The policy rates, if you look at, it allows businesses to enter into new investments, borrow. The banking sector is performing very well. It allows them to support your engagements. We can see businesses are reporting good results as government, which we are happy.
Today, the global environment is shaped by geopolitical tensions, conflicts, and sudden supply chain disruptions, all of which add cost and risk for our businesses. At the same time, changes in tariff regimes, particularly in key markets like the United States, pose new challenges for exporters who rely on imported inputs. Ensuring smooth access to these inputs, removing unnecessary regulatory bottlenecks, and maintaining policy consistency is vital for Sri Lanka to stay competitive in global value chains. At the import section of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, our commitment remains clear: to be the voice of importers, advocate for policy reforms, and collaborate with authorities to create a facilitative environment for legitimate trade. Trade is not just about crossing borders. It is about opportunities crossing barriers. Together, with the right policies, digital solutions, and collaborative spirit, we can transform these challenges into a stronger, more connected Sri Lanka.
The import section of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce serves as the authoritative voice for importers in Sri Lanka, passionately advocating for their interests. With a deep understanding of the import trade landscape, it represents the collective interests and aspirations of importers, ensuring their voices are heard at various platforms.
I think 60 is probably not where we should think about this is sort of your end of your working life. That's just far too early. Basically, I think for many people continue to work to 70.
And I think in South Korea, 25% of over 80 years old population are still working.
Prioritizing crucial conversations. This is Leaving No One Behind. This Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV1. Colombo is set for a sensational night on the 3rd of August as Yes 101 and Legends 966 host Walshy Fire and Friends Live to celebrate the launch weekend of Cinnamon Life, City of Dreams.
Yo, got some news, guys. Sri Lanka, I'm going to be back again. That's right, Colombo, Walshy Fire and Friends. It's called City of Dreams. I'm bringing Diana King, I'm bringing Kevin Little, and it's happening August the 3rd. Do not miss this.
Yo, what's up, Colombo? This is your boy Kevin Little. Yeah, man, you can catch me in Colombo for the grand opening celebration. Yeah, man, for the City of Dreams. Yeah, Kevin Little is coming along with some of my good friends, my brother Walshy Fire, my sister Diana King. We're going to be rocking it with you on the 3rd of August. So Sri Lanka, get ready. Colombo is going to be crazy.
Hey, Sri Lanka, I've missed you. Guess who's coming back? it's Diana King, and I will be performing alongside Kevin Little for Walshy Fire and Friends, August 3rd for the grand opening celebration week for City of Dreams, presented by Yes 101 and Legends 966.
The Walshy Fire and Friends live concert will be held on 3rd of August at 7 p.m. at the Cinnamon Life City of Dreams Hotel. The event will feature performances by internationally renowned artists Diana King, Kevin Little and Walshy Fire of Major Lazer. The concert is presented by Yes 101 and Legends 966. Tickets are now available for purchase at www.cinnamonboxoffice.com.
YFM, Sri Lanka's leading youth radio brand, has launched its latest platform to empower and showcase the talents of the nation's youth. Introducing Island Y, a fresh stage dedicated to creating opportunities for young talent across the country.
From dancing, singing, music, fashion design and DJing to AI business development, IT, photography and content creation, Island Y is a platform that empowers youth to rise in any field through their talents. The first initiative under this program is the DJ Championship. What makes this competition unique is that it's open even to those with no prior experience in DJing, as long as they have the interest and passion to learn. To apply, interested individuals are required to send a short video, no longer than 1 minute, to the WhatsApp number 076 0927 927, explaining why they want to become a DJ. Island Y is partnering with Pioneer DJ by Alpha Theta for this initiative. The brand recently provided the Island Y team with professional DJ consoles for training and competition purposes. Additionally, 10 DJ controllers were awarded to finalists to help launch their DJ careers successfully. The winner of the DJ Championship will also receive an exclusive opportunity to perform at international level events in Singapore and Malaysia. The second and final day of the DMASL Digital Summit 2025 took place today.
On its second and final day, the Digital Summit 2025 continued to energize South Asia's digital landscape. With momentum building from day one, today's session pushed boundaries even further, diving deeper into breakthrough technologies, regional collaborations and bold visions for the future. More than 1,000 participants, including innovators, industry leaders and policymakers, remained fully engaged, exchanging ideas and forging cross-border partnerships. Over 35 speakers took the stage across multiple tracks and workshops, tackling topics from AI, tourism, digital PR and fintech to the creative economy and digital governance. From panel discussions to pitch sessions, the conversations reflected a shared ambition to position South Asia not just as a hub of digital consumption, but as a driving force of global innovation. MTV MBC Media Networks and Newsfirst proudly served as the electronic media partners of the event.
So Sri Lanka's digital story is not just unfolding, it is accelerating. The summit is a moment of inspiration. So over the past 2 days, we learned from global voices. It's very clear that tomorrow it will be our turn to inspire the world. So we are not no longer playing catch up with the world. We are contributing, we are leading with our ideas, creativity and our grit. Digital marketing is like an ocean. We spoke about so many things today: AI, influence, content, data, analytics, performance marketing. There's a space for each one of us to carve out our path in this industry. So you just don't have to fit the mold. You just have to find your strength, your voice, and just master it.
All of us really have this sense of curiosity and a sense of hope that tomorrow will be better than today. And I think that's really awesome. My work takes me to some really rural parts of Sri Lanka. I am blessed to have that opportunity. A couple of weeks ago, I was in this little village called Wilgamua in the central part of Sri Lanka. and we were building a little bridge for this community. And work was going to begin on that day. I spent some time with the parents and the teachers and the students in that village. And something that I noticed in that village and everywhere I travel is this beautiful sense of hope. And I think in this age of AI, when it's almost like a battle, we're all trying to figure out how on earth are we going to face this incredibly complex future. I think we have this amazing weapon which no AI or robot or none of them will ever have, and that is hope. We have hope. And with hope, I think we can face the future like nothing else. And that's what I saw on the faces of those children in that little village. I think what we're doing together is also somehow trying to build this bridge to the future so that we can connect each other to each other and connect the future of this nation to its people so we can reach that beautiful potential. And so I don't think we're actually talking about AI or a digital future, but what we're talking about here, what you have in your hands this evening, is actually the future of this nation and her people. Helping this nation and her people reach that future.
In your international news, France President Emmanuel Macron said that France will recognize Palestine as a state. The move continues to make France as the largest and most influential country in Europe to recognize a Palestinian state.
The announcement comes as European anger over Israel's war on Gaza. On a post on X on Thursday, President Emmanuel Macron said that he will formalize the decision at the United Nations General Assembly in September. Macron said, quote, "In keeping with its historic commitment to a just and lasting peace in the Middle East, I have decided that France will recognize the state of Palestine," end quote. The move makes France the largest and arguably most influential country in Europe to move to recognize a Palestinian state. Israel has killed 59,587 Palestinians and imposed severe restrictions on aid deliveries that have led to a hunger crisis. Earlier this week, France joined the UK, Australia, Canada and 21 other allies of Israel in condemning restrictions on Gaza. United States has strongly rejected the Macron statement, and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio on X said that he criticized Macron's reckless decision, which he claimed, quote, "only serves Hamas propaganda and sets back peace," end quote. France's foreign minister is set to co-host a conference at the UN next week on a two-state solution to the decades-long conflict, and the Trump administration announced that it would not attend the upcoming United Nations conference.
And in more news overseas, Thailand and Cambodia exchanged fire for a second day along their disputed border, leaving at least 16 dead and over 100,000 displaced. Thailand's leader warns that the conflict could escalate into war.
Thailand and Cambodia exchanged fire along their disputed border for a second day today, officials from both countries said, with more than a dozen people reported killed and more than 100,000 civilians evacuated. Tensions between the Southeast Asian neighbors have been boiling for months over disputed sections of their 500-mile land border, demarcated partly by Cambodia's former colonial ruler France, and which runs near several archaeologically significant religious sites that both countries claim. Deputy spokesman for the Thai army said that clashes broke out at 4:30 a.m. local time on Friday after Cambodia initiated firing using small arms and heavy weapons, and the Thai army responded with artillery fire. Clashes were taking place in two locations, in Ubon Ratchathani province and one in Surin province, the Thai army said, warning the public to avoid the area. It further said that heavy weapon and rocket fire had been reported coming from Cambodia. Thailand's leader has said that intense fighting between Thailand and Cambodia, which has killed at least 16 people and displaced tens of thousands, could, quote-unquote, move towards war.
ประเทศต้องการความสามัคคีของคนในชาติแล้วเหตุการณ์ที่กำลังเกิดขึ้นและมีลักษณะที่บุกรุกล้ำ แล้วก็สร้างความเสียหายกับชีวิตประชาชนนะครับอย่างที่บอกนะครับว่ามันมีลักษณะเกิดภาวะรุนแรงขึ้นนะครับมันจะพัฒนาไปสู่สงครามได้ซึ่งขณะนี้ยังถือว่าเป็นการปะทะกันนะครับโดยใช้อาวุธหนักที่รุนแรง
Acting Prime Minister's warning comes as fighting at a disputed border entered a second day, marking a dramatic escalation of the dispute that dates back more than a century. In Thailand, clashes in the Ubon Ratchathani and Surin provinces wounded dozens and displaced more than 100,000 civilians. Some 1,500 families in Cambodia's Oder Minchi province have been evacuated. Thailand says 14 civilians and 1 soldier have been killed so far. Provincial authorities in Cambodia says at least 1 civilian was killed in Oder Minchi. The US has also called for an immediate cessation of hostilities, protection of civilians and a peaceful resolution of the conflict.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.